Welcome to this week's episode of the Cyber Chronicles. My name is Brian Stevenson, and I will be your host. We scrub the internet for the most popular articles on cybersecurity, so you don't have to. We're going to talk about the top 5 articles most shared across the web. We're going to talk about T-Mobile getting hacked. We're going to talk about the most devastating cyber attack in the history of mankind, and we're going to talk about our number one story, a Russian operation targeting U.S. political institutions. Stay tuned. Let's get started. Okay, the 5th most shared article across the web. Facebook can't seem to stay out of these articles, and I think what we've done these episodes now for about 3 months, and I think there's only been 2 weeks where Facebook has not been in the top 5 articles. This week, Apple stores forced Facebook VPN app out of the iOS store. Basically, what happened is Facebook has a mobile VPN called Onico Protect from its iOS store. I'm probably pronouncing that incorrectly, but I don't care. And anyway, it helps users keep their information private and controversy. Keep you and your data safe when you browse and share information on the web was the post that Facebook had. However, the VPN was a data collection tool for Facebook, helping the company track smartphone users' activities across multiple applications to learn insights on how Facebook users use third-party apps. Surprise, surprise, surprise. Apple found out about this earlier this month and detected it and said it's a violation of the Apple Store guidelines, which says that you can't collect data from the user's information and sell it to third parties. So Facebook has voluntarily removed this VPN app. There's lots of VPN apps out there to keep you anonymous. That is probably, I don't think I would choose Facebook VPN, but to each his own. That was our 5th most shared popular story across the internet. Okay, the 4th most popular article, and this just came out on Friday, so it probably would have hit, I think, even a higher ranking had it be at more time to hit a week's worth of shares. But T-Mobile got hacked. 2 million customer personal data information suffered a breach on August 20th that resulted in the leak of, quote-unquote, some personal information for up to 2 million T-Mobile customers. Zip codes, phone numbers, addresses, account numbers, prepaid or postpaid. Good news is no financial information like credit card information, social security numbers, or passwords were compromised in the breach, but the company did reveal that they managed to take quite a bit of information out of their database. So sounds like the cell phone companies continue to have issues on making sure they're secure, and that just came out on Friday. So T-Mobile, if you're a T-Mobile user, update your password and username. Even though they don't have that stuff, it's always a good idea to do that after a breach has occurred. We're going to move on to our 3rd most popular story. Okay, the 4th most popular story from Axios. Feared DNC hack was actually just a security test. What the fuck? The DNC walked back on the assertion that it detected a sophisticated hacking attempt early on Thursday, announced simply that a subcontractor was doing an unauthorized security test. Why it matters, this is a black eye on the DNC who foolishly, for riling up the press over which turned out to be an internal matter, a massive victory for Lookout, the third-party security firm that caught the attempt in a unique approach discovering phishing attacks. So apparently they had a contractor in there, a security contractor, who started running a security test, and they thought it was a hack and announced it, and then came back and said, no, whoops, we just were actually testing our own stuff. So way to be on top of your crap. DNC, congratulations. We're going to move on to the 2nd most popular story shared on the 2nd most popular article of the week is from Wired Magazine. If you don't subscribe to Wired Magazine, you really should. They just do a phenomenal job of digesting and really deep diving into some of these topics that are complicated. But it's the untold story of NotPetya, the most devastating cyber attack in history. I can't go into the whole thing because it's about 29 pages long. This is going to hit some of the highlights, but they go through a couple case scenarios where people were working in companies and just literally the panic that set in once NotPETA started shooting across companies' networks and malware, people unplugging PCs, panicking 2 hours. Every employee was ordered to turn off their PC, leave it on the desk. Executives were just pulling thin cords out of the walls for their servers because it was propagating so quickly, and it was it shot against as ground zero for the most part was against Ukraine. The conflict from Ukraine, it was a scorched earth testing ground for Russian cyber tactics. Between 2015 and 16, Kremlin-backed hackers known as Fancy Bear were breaking into the U.S. National Democratic Committee servers. Another group of agents known as Sandworm were hacking into dozens of Ukrainian government organizations. So the attack was really the most vicious cyber weapons attack that they'd ever seen. They go into the malware and talk about it. It was basically a combination of two different malware tools put together that they had never seen before. And the devastation by any means was the worst we'd ever seen. There was ransomware messages, but the malware's intent was purely destructive. So it encrypted the computer's master boot records, deep-seated part of the machine to tell it to find its own operating system. Any payment that you try to make didn't work. They basically blew up all of the data. And the cost of this thing is estimated, lowball estimate, of over $10 billion what it costs companies and organizations, and a lot of organizations cease to exist because of this, because all of their data was lost. And they go through a couple stories where massive companies, 80,000 employees, trying to reboot their computers, finding their backup data, but can't finding their boot disk, and basically at the last second being able to find it and be able to reconnect all of their servers and connections. Let me get to the other part of the story here. It's a fascinating story. It talks about them breaking into the point where they did find it. And the question has always been, what was the intent of this malware being sent out? Because it wasn't for monetary reasons. It was for destruction. It was for completely destroying a nation's data. The other questions a lot of people have is, was this intention to basically wipe out evidence of espionage or reconnaissance for future sabotage, or an attempt to see what they could do with one country's attack on another country? The security organizations, Cisco Craig Williams argues Russia knew full well the intent of the pain the worm would inflict internationally. The fallout, he argues, was meant to explicitly punish anyone who would dare to even maintain an office outside of Russia's enemy. Anyone thinks this is accidental is engaged in wishful thinking. This is a piece of malware designed to send a political message. If you do business in Ukraine, bad things are going to happen to you. Great article. Andy Greenberg wrote it, senior writer, again, of Wired Magazine. Pick it up. It's on newsstands, or you can pick it up digitally. One of the better articles I've read in a long time, going through an actual malware and explaining the history of it. That was our second most shared article on the internet. This episode of the Cyber Chronicles is brought to you by FocusPoint Technologies, a Minnesota-based cybersecurity solutions provider headquartered right in Roseville, Minnesota. We're introducing a new program called STOP. STOP represents an acronym of a Security Technology Optimization Program. We developed this program due to the marketplace, sending emails out, sending out fear, uncertainty, and doubt, people spending too much time on the technology and not enough on the people and the processes. If you'd like to learn more about our program called STOP, please give us a call at 651-330-5521 or reach us on the web at www.focuspointtechnologies.com. And the most shared article of the week was, Russian hackers. Where the hell did this come from? A group affiliated with the Russian government created phony 6 websites related to public policy in the U.S. Senate, and apparent goal to hacking into the computers of people who tricked them into visiting them, according to Microsoft. And Microsoft Monday night discovered that and disabled all of these websites. The notorious APT28 group, publicly linked to the Russian intelligence agency who actively interfered in the 2016 presidential election, underscores the aggressive role Russian operatives are playing in the midterm elections in the United States. So Microsoft, tip of the hat, digital crimes unit responsible for email phishing schemes, led the role in finding and disabling the sites, and launched an effort to provide expanded cybersecurity protection campaigns in elections for people that use Microsoft products. So once again, the Russians are coming in, and now they're on our elections, and surprise, surprise, trying to influence our elections. Last week we discovered 12-year-olds can hack into some voting systems, allegedly. So that is it for the Cyber Chronicles for the week of August 26th. Have a great week. Hope you enjoyed the show. Please subscribe. We love it that people are subscribing to the show. Give us some suggestions if you have any suggestions. With that, have a great week.